I am not a public speaker. I have talents. This is not one of them. So I got a little outline just to keep me focused and see how this goes. For you that don't know me, like I said, I'm Doug Nelson. I'm 49 years old. My journey started probably about 35 years ago. I grew up in a really strict household. Wasn't a lot of playtime, mostly work, things to do. So I think every chance I got, I did the things that I shouldn't do. I had my first drink when I was 13 years old. Had a birthday party. My dad actually let some friends come over with some motorcycles. We would ride. We lived in a little farm surrounded by farms, and so we rode everywhere. Well, I had a friend, he was a little bit older that I rode with. He knew how to get some alcohol, so gave him some money. He got us a fifth of peach schnapps, hid it in a culvert for us. So while we were out riding that afternoon, we stopped, picked it up, brought it back to the house, hid it out in the front yard in a cedar tree. And after Mom and Dad went to bed, me and a friend of mine got up, went outside, and started drinking. Now, I think we drank maybe about a quarter of it between the two of us, but we were falling down stupid. That was my first run-in with alcohol. I couldn't tell you when I had a second drink, but it probably wasn't far after that. Got into high school, and we would drink on the weekends. We would get alcohol, just get in a car, have somebody drive. We didn't drive, but we always had somebody to buy it for us. We would just ride around the car, drink beer, throw bottles of signs. I was good at that. I could nail a sign. So we did a lot of that. I was 16 years old. I'd gotten my license, had my car, and went to stay the night with a buddy of mine. Told my mom and dad we were just going to be there, stay the night. Well, we had other plans. That was get alcohol, ride around, drink. So after football game, I played football, he played football. We went back to his house. Went out, got some alcohol, started driving around. I think we had a pint of whiskey, case of beer, two of us. We downed all that while we were riding around for a couple hours. He was gonna drop us off at the house, and I was like, no, I gotta have my car. My mom and dad would kill me. So we went back to Emnitz to get my car. I had to go to the bathroom. So we went in this little gas station. It was what we call a single holder. I'm redneck. So. We go in the single holder. I had to go. My buddy's using it until I had, so I used the sink. We didn't close the door. Emnitz police officer sitting in the parking lot watching us. We get back in the car with him. He takes us to get my car. We had parked it outside of town. So he watched us get out. We're both falling down. I knew I was too drunk to drive, so I gave my buddy the keys. He's 15 and he's drunk. So we get in the car. We didn't even get out of the parking lot. They had us pulled over. They're going through the car. Where's the beer? Where's the beer? I was like, we drank it all. There isn't any. It's like, you can keep looking, but there's none in there. So he took us over to the courthouse, and he's talking to us. You start sobering up real quick at this point. He said, we're calling your dad. You're going home. Your buddy's going to Frankfurt to spend the night because he was driving. And I said, can't I go with him? I don't want to go home. So Dad came, picked me up. Well, it was a rough ride home. A lot of screaming and hollering. Hat smacked off my head 15 times. Got home, punched a hole in the wall. My mom was crying. That probably hurt me more than anything. I remember him telling me, you promised your mom you're gonna clean them stalls out tomorrow, and you better be up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Don't make me come down there. Well, he yells down, you up? I wasn't. I jumped up, yeah, I'm up. Well, I remember that day too, cleaning out stalls. That was a rough day. Really sick. So there was a lot of that in high school. I mean, there's probably story after story after story. So I finally get out of high school, and time to go to college, and I wanted to be a nurse. So I applied at Murray State University in a couple places. I got accepted at Murray State University. It's all we could afford, but it was an in-state school. but it was also as far away from home as I could get without leaving the state. So I didn't have to worry about mom and dad just popping in. So I went down to Murray State, and I got grades to pass, and my grades were good enough that credits transferred and whatnot, but did a lot of partying there. And I met some good people there. One of my dearest friends in life I met in college. He's like a brother to me. But what we had in common, or what we did together, we got more than that in common, but what we did together was drink. Every time we got together from years after that, that's all we did, drink. Get beer, drink. That's what we did. Go camping, drink. Just drink. So drink has been in my life for a long time. It wasn't every day, but when I did it, now that I look back, I always did it to excess. You know, for me, just having a beer and sitting just doesn't work. If I'm gonna open one, I'm gonna open them all until they're gone. You know, what is it, Dean? One's not enough and one's too many.
One is one too many, and one more is never enough.
That's exactly right. So I didn't drink every day of the week, but I drank a lot. I'll go back to getting arrested, by the way. I was grounded I had just gotten my license, so I'd maybe been 16 for a month or so. I got grounded for the whole year. I couldn't do anything. I could only drive my car to go to work. They didn't make me quit football, thank God for that, so I got to play football. But the rest of the time I was working at home or in school. So I finally got ungrounded on my birthday, February 5th. I turned 17. On February 10th, I went out with my wonderful wife.
We did not drink.
We did do some drinking.
Not that night.
Not that night. We did. So I went out, so that was my first date with my wife. We've been together ever since. So we're celebrating. That's by the grace of God, because Lord knows she could have kicked me out a long time ago. So after college and all that, and drinking on weekends, it was mostly weekends. Just get together with friends but it was always too much. I always had too much. We went to a class reunion, and there was a keg there, and I got to hit in the keg with some friends, and I got way too drunk that night. I ended up punching a paper towel dispenser in the bathroom and breaking it. She knew. She said she could tell by the look on my face when they were asking who broke it or whatever. We got a little argument, and I flipped the table. I woke up that next morning and she wasn't there. That scared me. That slowed me down for a little bit. But you know, it was still always there. The devil's always in your head. You know, he tries. It's like, oh, you can have one. It's all good. You know, so that slowed me down for a little bit. But then you just kind of go right back to it. So it got to where I was starting to drink a little bit through the week, just have one evening. And I'm horrible with time on this, because it went on for so long and off and on, and it's just so fuzzy. So it's hard for me to say I did that for 2 years or 3 years or 10 or whatever it was. But start drinking, you know, a beer in the evening. And then that turned to a couple beers in the evening, a few beers in the evening. So then it got to where it was every day of the week. And she had noticed and had said something about being too much or whatever. So I ended up at a point where I'd get one out in the kitchen, like I'm having a beer, but I had some in the garage. You know, so she's thinking I'm just having a beer in the evening while I'm having some extras every chance I get. And that went on for a long time. And I was hiding the extras. You know, it was just the beer in the kitchen. And one evening, matter of fact, we were working on a plan for turning our garage into an apartment for our boys. And she was brainstorming on how to lay the apartment out in the garage. And she said something about, what if we did this? I said, I don't know, let me go measure. Well, I went to measure, but it was also an opportunity to run to the garage, get some more beer. So there was a box by the door going in the garage. I'd drop them down in there. And our bathroom was off the garage, so I could just say I'm going to the bathroom, reach in the garage, grab beer, drink it. Well, I was coming back to the door with beer in my arm, and she walked out of the bathroom. So I was caught red-handed. And we talked about it. I cried about it. I didn't like it. Didn't like hiding it. And I quit. I quit for a good while. She helped me, and it worked for a good while. And I couldn't tell you the day that changed, but just know there was a day where I let the devil get to me. Like, you can have one, you'll be fine. No. And then you go from, even that was too much, I understand that now, but you think that was nothing, then you quit and you fall off a wagon, it gets twice as bad. You just go at it harder. I mean, Dean has said it in his, I think almost everybody that's had a lesson has said it at one point in time. You think it can't get any worse? Go back out there. It'll get worse. So I fell off the wagon, and it got to be a little bit more. And one day we were cleaning up at home, and then all this process, I had started my own business and stuff, and we were doing some cleanup at home, and this is after I had gone back to drinking. Doing some cleanup at home, and I had a 16-foot gooseneck dump trailer. It had some stuff in it to go to the dump or whatever, and I had thrown some cans in there, and a bag had blown out of the yard. She picked the bag, opened it up, full beer cans.
We're not gonna discuss what I said. We're in church.
and of course, what did I say? No, not mine. I mean, I just lie about it all. So, and finally I knew, okay, you're not getting out of this. So I said, yes, and I tried to explain to her that I didn't like it, but I didn't know how to stop it. Didn't know how to stop it at all. So we talk again, and she's gonna help me. Well, at this point, I had fallen off, so it was worse than any other time before. I had shakes. I was supposed to be painting the house, and the next morning I had a shake so bad there was no way I could go paint. And she did a little research, and there was some stuff about weaning yourself, So I bought some beer to have a few, space them through the day. Did that for a few days and quit for a little bit. Wasn't very long though. And when I fell off that time, I fell off real hard. It just got worse and worse. I kind of skipped the part there where during my business is when it turned into an all day, everyday thing. Work got canceled for rain one day, and standing in a gas station to check out and looking at the beer cave at 10 o'clock in the morning. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Well, the next day, 10 o'clock looked all right too. And the next day, until eventually it was, I got to get out of this bathroom, brushing my teeth, and I need a beer in me. Because I couldn't brush my teeth in the morning. It was so bad. I was in the bathroom like this in the morning trying to brush my teeth. Just thinking, I got to get to the truck. Just so I can get this to stop. And then at that point, I had to drink during the day just to stay steady. And then that wasn't enough. So after a little while of that, that's when she found the cans. We tried to do the weaning thing, that didn't work. And then I fell off again. And when I fell off that time, even the drinking all during the day wasn't enough. I added whiskey. And I started drinking Fireball at night. I would pick up a 10-pack of those little airplane bottles almost every evening. They were easy to hide too. Stick them in the bottom of kept a bunch of old blankets and rags and stuff at the bottom of this cedar cabinet, and I could throw them in the bottom there. They were real easy because they were so small, easy to hide. I'd even taken them out when we went out and drank while we were out as a family. So that was bad. I mean, that was real bad. And this was, I'm trying to think of when this was, like in October or November, before it all came to an end. And it just got so bad. And then finally she picked up a job working for a World War II vet and watching him at night. And she was watching him, so I was at home by myself. And when she was gone, well, it was real easy then, didn't have to really worry too much about it, even though I had daughter living in the house. So I had hit it pretty hard that night, went to bed, laying in bed, started having chest pain. And I just laying there and finally decided, I don't want to die here. I need to go to the hospital. But knowing going into the hospital was going to be it. It's coming out again. So we got my daughter up. She drove me to the hospital. They called her from work. She came up there. And I'll be real honest with you. That whole week, I don't remember much. It was fuzzy. It was bad. I do remember when I was detoxing in the hospital that it was so bad, I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't wipe myself. I went to the bathroom. My wife sat by my side and fed me, took care of me the whole time. I had seizures coming off the alcohol. I had seizures, jacked up both of my shoulders. I didn't get them taken care of until way after rehab. I hurt the whole time in rehab from that. So even then, even though I knew going in the hospital the cat was out of the bag, but there's also some relief there because it's finally over. I laid in bed. She's my best friend, and I laid in bed with her night after night after night, wanting to tell her. But I had a problem. I had a big problem. It's called pride. Mm-hmm. And pride is the fall. Let me tell you. I just couldn't swallow my pride and spit the words out. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, wouldn't do it. Whatever. But so I knew that cat was out of the bag. I walked in the hospital and they did all these labs and all that, and had seizures. And doctor comes in the next day. I do remember him coming in and saying, "Mr. Nelson, what have you been doing?" I was kind of like, what are you talking about? Blood alcohol was 300. 3 times the legal limit. If you look it up, 300 it says pass out, shallow breathing, a whole lot of things. 400 is coma, death. I walked into the hospital, talking, walking. They didn't even know it in the ER. Lying. I did a lot of lying. Yeah, but even then I denied it.
Yep.
I denied it even then.
Yep.
Knowing that she knew everything at that point, I still denied it. I remember that, and then really don't remember much after. I remember talking about going to Isaiah House. That's where I ended up going. I remember Pastor. I remember Troy, a really good friend of mine who, by the way, would have been here, but he's sitting on the beach. That was a little more important. No. But anyway, so I remember talking about Isaiah House. And then, honestly, I remember waking up in Isaiah House. A couple of days went by, and I just remember waking up in Isaiah House. At first, it was kind of like, where am I? What's going on? And then I realized what was going on. So I was in there for 31 days, and Isaiah House is 100% Christ-based. It's all about Jesus Christ, and it's the only way through. And I was ready for that. However, I was so fuzzy for that week in the hospital, I did not know where my wife was with me. And that was driving me crazy. And Isaiah House there's a lot of treatment programs around. I know some friends that went to some. They're resorts. Isaiah House is no resort. They take your wallet, They take your phone, they take everything. They got cameras at the doors are locked down. You got a strict schedule and regimen, which people like me need. You know, you can't give me reins. I'll screw it up. So it's a rough place. They wouldn't let you make any phone calls until your counselor or advisor would let you. So I met with my counselor a few days. When you first go in, you talk to him every single day. And after a few days, he realized that I was really there to be there and to do this thing. So he let me make a phone call to her. This is going to be hard. So she answers the phone, and the first words out of her mouth, I love you, I forgive you, take care of yourself, get better, take as long as you need, and come on home to me. Sorry. So I was all in there. I'd say within the next week, I'd already admitted I had a problem. I'd gotten that out of the way. I knew my life was completely unmanageable, or I wouldn't be sitting in Isaiah's house. So that part was easy. I got that out of the way. But within about a week, I'd actually turned my will over to God. That is when your life changes.
Amen.
You can see it in my writings. I wrote every day. You can see that change, expand, and get, not to mention the shake started going away, so it was a little more legible. As it was rough at first. I look back at it, I kept like, what's that? It was pretty bad. So my life really started to change now. So where I'm heading here is from all the bad stuff I did, and there's probably more to it than all of that. I might miss something, but what I want to go to now is what Jesus has done for me in my life. One of the greatest things ever in my life is my second chance with my wife. She's my soulmate. I won't ever take that for granted again. Nor do I ever want to go through the detox again. That was bad. That was rough.
By the way, you're on camera, so.
It's okay. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was honestly probably the roughest, sickest I've ever been. And part of the reason I don't remember all of that because they had me on Valium, Ativan. Well, those wipe your memory. Let me tell you. Then when I first got to Isaiah's house, I was on Librium probably for a couple weeks. It was 2 or 3 weeks in before the shaking really started to go away. I noticed while I was there looking in the mirror, my eyes were just yellow, just horribly yellow. I watched them clear up in the 31 days I was there. My labs, when they did my labs in the hospital, I'll tell you what my blood alcohol level was. You can imagine how many labs they done. I don't think I had one normal lab value, not one. My liver enzymes were through the roof. But by the grace of God, 2 months later, they were normal. So what Jesus has done for me in turning my will over to Jesus. First of all, he's given me the strength to do what I've done. I got a lot of people to thank for that. My wife, my family, my friends, my pastors, this group. I thank God every day I found this group. Because I was struggling. When I first got out of Isaiah's house, I was struggling with finding something that made sense to me. We'd go online and find AA. Amy was trying to help me find stuff. We'd find AA meetings, and you would go in because it was COVID. Nothing was open. You'd go into a chat meeting, a room, and there'd be 350 people in there. 50 of them which were there just to ruin the meeting. So it would take the leader a half hour just to clear the room of the people in there just trying to disrupt. I remember him saying one time, I pray you all don't need this because of what you're doing to the people that are sitting here that need this right now. So I kept looking and looking, and we have a friend that's a pastor, and she had told Amy about this group here, the CR group. And I did celebrate recovery in Isaiah House. So I liked it, and I wanted that. I knew that AA had gotten away from, Jesus. Theirs is a higher power, but this piece of paper could be my higher power. And so I wanted a group that was all about Jesus. So back to Jesus again. What he gave me was, he gave me freedom, peace, patience, slow to anger. That's a big one. Being self-employed, I can't tell you how many times I threw hammers, broke stuff, cursed, just get all bent out of shape. It does you no good. I don't get angry now. If I'm working on something that's not going right, first thing I do is I start talking to God about it. And he usually gives me the answer to how to do it. If he doesn't, I just know to walk away from it. Walk away, go do something else for 10, 15 minutes, an hour, whatever it takes, go back. It usually goes just fine. Does it always? No. God promises us paradise, but it doesn't tell you it's going to be easy to get there. And this is the beautiful planet that God created, and how you can't look out the window and see the trees and the sky and the sun and all that and not believe there's something greater. I don't get it. But on the other hand, that is the devil's playground. And there's a lot of bad stuff out there, and if you're not careful, it'll suck you right into it. Been there, I've done that. He gave me slow to anger. I told you he gave me a second chance with my soulmate, which, if there are angels that walk this earth, she's one of them. I truly believe that. And I said, God, give me this group. My church, I'm lucky, my pastors are here tonight from Family Worship Center. A friend from Family Worship Center. My daughters. So we've got a great support system. God gave me Dean. Yep, God gave me Dean. Dean helped me get through all this. Gave me this program in the 12 steps. In the 12 steps, if you just follow the 12 steps, you're well on your way to being who you need to be in your walk with Christ. But God tells us to. We're talking about this being the devil's playground. And he said too, going back to the bad stuff, in Luke, he said, secrets will be uncovered, truth will come forth. God he thought about every behavior, and action will be vindicated. What is done in the dark will come to the light. And we should thank God that he created it so. And that is right. It's a bittersweet journey. I hate the things I did, and the things I've done, and the things I did to my wife and my friends. I lied to Craig. I went to races. Craig didn't think I drank. I'm drinking. I lied to everybody in my life. And I hate that. On the other hand, I've seen the other side now, and I've come through. I came to the light. I'm out of the darkness.
Amen.
I know what that's like. I don't want no more of it.
Amen.
And I know what Jesus can do for me. And that's what I want. That's where I'm heading. My pastor's always saying, rear view mirror, little tiny thing. You got your windshield in front of you. And that's exactly, you're right. Don't even need a rear view mirror, and tear it down. I've forgiven myself. And one other thing I could say, another really, really great scripture is Ephesians. And that's, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. We need that every single day we walk out the door. And I do that every single morning. Every single morning, I thank Jesus, first of all, for being alive. Second of all, for my wife and my family. And thirdly, I say out loud, every day I say, God, thy will be done, not mine. And I just give it to him. I trust in him and I love him. You know, I said that I'm not a public speaker and this isn't my thing. I slept like a baby last night. That's another thing. That anxiety, being anxious. I just don't have that. I don't stress. It's so nice. I am the happiest I've ever been. And I owe it all to Jesus Christ. I probably missed something. It's my first time. I did finish my 12 steps about a month ago, wasn't it, Dean? Got my certificate a couple weeks ago. So everybody knows that means it's to the give back time, and I'm ready for it. I just want to help people. I thank everybody for coming. I really thank my family and friends for all their support in this group. Anybody have any questions?
You're gonna help a lot of people.
Yes, you are. I hope so.
You already have.
Hope so. Well, again, that is a problem. Thank you all very much. I don't know how long that will